Welcome to Innovations and Breakthroughs with your host, Rich Goldstein, talking about the evolutionary, the revolutionary, the inspiration and the perspiration, and those aha moments that change everything. And now, here's your host, Rich Goldstein.
Rich Goldstein here, host of the Innovations and Breakthroughs podcast, where I feature top leaders and the path they took to create change. Past guests include Joe Polish, Roland Frazier, and Mike Calhoun. This episode is brought to you by my company, Goldstein Patent Law, where we help you to protect your ideas and products. We've advised and obtained patents for thousands of companies over the past 28 years. So if you're a company that has software, a product, or a design you want protected, go to goldsteinpatentlaw.com, where there are amazing free resources for learning about the patent process. And you could email my team at welcome@goldsteinpc.com to explore if it's a match to work together. You could also check out the book I wrote for the American Bar Association that explains in plain English how patents work. It's called the ABA Consumer Guide to Obtaining a Patent. I have with me here today my good friend, Izabela Hamilton. Izabela is the CEO and founder of Rank Bell, an agency that helps Amazon sellers to launch their products and get them ranked highly by the Amazon search engine. She is a highly respected keynote speaker, business strategist, and an advocate for helping other people create their own financial freedom. She hosted the Seller Sessions program weekly for more than 2 years, where she focused on all things mindset. And I don't know if it's proper to introduce someone by saying that they're just simply amazing. Like, if you don't know Izabela, you have to know Izabela. But I'm happy to welcome my amazing friend, Izabela Hamilton, to the show. Welcome, Izabela.
Oh my goodness, Rich Goldstein, what a pleasure and an honor to be here with you. And, those words mean so much to me because it's one of those words that I always use, when people ask me, how are you doing? I'm amazing. So, also, if you go back to the importance of how we use words, the more you use a word, the more it becomes part of your identity. So thank you for saying that because it really means a lot. But also, I want to point something out, Rich. I think you're missing one important thing in your preview for podcast. I think you're forgetting to tell people how amazing of a singer you are and how also you remember the words to every single song on planet Earth. I think that should be in your introduction, Rich. What do you think?
Yeah, or maybe that's just a nice little surprise that some people find out.
Well, you're right, but if they're lucky enough, but as you know, your podcast is probably listened to thousands and thousands of people, and the chances of those people to be with you in a car ride in London, for example, where you're just singing every single song that comes along, may be slim. So I think we should let people know that you are just an amazing human yourself.
Oh, so, thank you. I appreciate that.
And, one more thing I do want to mention, because this is kind of close to my soul. And I know you remember this because you literally remember everything in your life, a human computer. But you took me to an amazing acting class a few years ago.
Yep.
And by the way,
Impulse, Josh Pice.
Exactly. We've been friends, I think now 5-6 years at least, me and you. And that they changed my life, and not in a way that, most people think, oh, just an acting class changed her life. But, one, you took me out of my comfort zone, and, I trusted you completely. You said, come with me to this one thing. It's hard to explain what it is. You'll see when we get there. And I trusted you fully. And because of that, my life has taken such a different course to where I thought it was going. Well, again, one, just being there and being in another environment that I would never put myself into. But also I met my mentor, who's been with me for almost 4 years now. And we have a call every single week. So I want to thank to you because you literally made that destiny happen, if I can say so myself. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I mean, first of all, I love connecting people. So like I get a lot of pleasure out of that, just knowing that I've connected you with someone who's important in your life. And that course, Committed Impulse, is something very important to me. It's made a huge difference for me too. That was pre-pandemic. That was January 2020 that we did that course. And I've been waiting for Josh to do an in-person workshop. He does them online and he says that they're great, but I want to go back and do a workshop again. And I messaged him and he said, coming soon, there will be an in-person event again, and I'll be there. And maybe we'll both go do that again. Because it's, every time that I've gone and done that course, it's just reminded me, it's like a lot of tools for getting out of your head and getting into the present moment. And when I go and do that course, I often have the realization like, wow, it's actually been a really long time since I've been this present. And so it's just a good remembering of what matters. And so, yeah, that means a lot to me. And I'm glad that we got to share that together. And also just noting on what you were saying about amazing. Yeah, we create our reality with our words, with our language. One thing that I took on years ago was noticing when I'm about to say the words can't or have to, and just stopping it in its tracks and changing the words. It makes such a big difference because it's like if you say, yeah, I can't go, I have to go to my friend's parents' funeral, right? You've just made yourself a victim of that whole circumstance. Like you've got no control over it. But if instead you say, like, I'm sorry, I won't be at your event tonight. I'm going to support my friend at her mother's funeral. Like you've just made yourself in your own mind powerful. You've taken back your power. And that's just an example of how, like with the words we use, we create a whole reality.
That is so beautiful. Thank you, Rich, for mentioning that, because it's like this little things that we don't even think about. And even though we use it all the time, I would have never thought of it the way you just did. But obviously now, hopefully will stay with me for a long time, because you're right. When you say, I have to, or it's almost as if you're right, like you give yourself no control over the situation. And even though quotation have to, you can rephrase that and
Right.
say it in a way that you are now in full control of
That you're choosing. Well, I'm choosing to.
I'm choosing to go, and that's what a great way to start the podcast. With such wisdom, and also I was pondering on your name. Rich and Gold. I mean, how fortunate are you to have two of the wealthiest names out there
Right.
on planet Earth? So you totally deserve that. I mean, you're just you beside just being a connector that you are, you just spread so much love and so much wisdom. And also every time I see you, it's always a good time. It's always at some event that you're either throwing, which it's a lot lately, or participating in other events. And it's just been so beautiful to see you soar over the years, and want to congratulate you again on your recent stardom. I am speaking now to a full-on actor, so just wanted to personally say congratulations. That must have been so exciting for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I haven't mentioned that on the podcast before, so I might as well do that now, I guess. So
You have to.
I had the random but good fortune to be in a movie. I got to play the part of a doctor in a boxing film. The name of it is Lola 2, and it's streaming on the AMC all BLK network. And you can actually get to it through Amazon Prime. You'll have to get a 7-day trial subscription to all BLK, and then you can cancel if you like. But yeah, so I'm a doctor in that movie, and you catch me just exactly 24 minutes in.
Oh my goodness. Well, my congratulations. And I'm definitely going to watch it because I have to see my friend. I mean, you see all those acting lessons, they are paying off, not just in normal life, but also in movie life. So that was so cool to see.
Well, that's the fun thing about the course that we did, is that it's usually about half like working actors that you see in things from time to time, and half entrepreneurs that just want to get better at public speaking and things like that. But it's like toward the end of the course, and we all do these scenes, and like you can't tell who the actors are and who the entrepreneurs are. It's all great. And I've thought many times while I was doing that, like, hey, it would be fun to be in a movie. It would be fun to actually do this and film some scenes for some like TV show or movie. And And lo and behold, it happened. So that was,
Totally manifested that yourself. Again, words and what you say and the intention that you place onto the things that you do, they end up turning, exactly, the way you wanted them to. So that's
yeah.
important.
How did I know that we were going to end up talking about mindset? You know?
Because Rich, I think at the core of both of our souls, is
Yes.
this thing where it's just we cannot wait to share the wisdom that we've learned. I mean, both of us, we are in so many masterminds. I mean, you beat me by who knows how many by now, but so many masterminds, and we do it not necessarily. I mean, because most people don't know this, but we do it because we just have a love for learning. And what is learning if you don't get to share it with your audience in this case, but those you love, and really changing lives as you go. Otherwise, what's the point? And it's just fun, and it feels good to have such a connection and such a communication where there's always a gold nugget at the end of it. So of course we were going to talk about mindset.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's also, I guess, we're two people that also like to muse about that type of thing. So it's
Exactly.
like we probably could talk for hours about
we
something like
we
that.
could, and I think we should, as like philosophers of our times.
Right, right. Exactly. And I mean, how do you bring that into your business? I mean, like, first of all, let me just, if I roll it back, reel it back quite a bit, it's like when I look at you and I think of you, I think of this incredible entrepreneur, leader, person, like as if you were born to be like exactly as you are, right? But
Mhm.
at the same time, you were born in a communist country. You were born in a very, very poor country, and you did not grow up with your circumstances destined to to be the successful entrepreneur that you are. And so, like, but I'm sure that the spirit of who you are was very much present when you were younger, right? Like it's the circumstances might have been a certain way, but you were determined to become who you are. And so tell me a little bit about like those beginnings and kind of how like you discovered yourself to be this powerful person, even in the midst of being in circumstances that would tell anyone like, hey, you're not going anywhere.
Mm. Mm. What a beautiful way to say it, Rich. I wanted to sit a second with that because that was quite deep. So thank you. You're right. Wayne Dyer, one of my favorite writers who has passed a few years ago, he talks about the soul in such a different way that I've ever heard anybody talk about. He talks about this like body that we have as just the house for the soul, right? It's not this material that makes the soul. The soul was already there. It just happens that, this body, Izabela body, embodies this, which now covers the soul. So going back to your question, having that essence, I think at my essence and my core, I was always somebody that strived to be more. And looking back over my life and being born in Romania in such circumstances, even though when I was younger, it wasn't necessarily pleasant, because we were lacking so much. But looking back now, I'm like, thank you, God, thank you, Lord, for giving me that opportunity, because I think it did help a lot co-create who I am today, so not having enough, obviously, the human instinct is, I need to get more, going back to, I have to. So it was a lot of that, how do I get out of my own circumstances and become who I need to become, even though at that time when you're so young and you're so little, you don't know. But it's like a yearning and a desire for something that you haven't yet encountered, which is so weird, because it's like, I want something, I just don't know what it is. It's like when you're hungry, but you don't know what to eat. So I think, maybe my soul always knew that I was meant to do something with my life. So with that, every single day, I just decided that I was was going to become somebody. I didn't know what, I didn't know who. It was first that desire. So, going back to when I was young, not having the possibilities that somebody will have in this country, being born here, it didn't limit me. It actually empowered me to strive for more. And that answer for me at that time was America. It was this land of all dreams and possibilities where everything came true. And it was easy because I had one mission and one mission only, and that was get to America. And everything else, it didn't matter at that time. And maybe another thing, maybe that was it, Rich. Maybe the fact that I used up all my energy and all my mental abilities to focus on one thing and one thing only. Maybe that's a lot to be said about that.
Got it. And so it sounds like a hunger for discovery, which is what you still have. I mean, that's still seems to be who you are, is like you're hungry to discover more and more about what you can become.
I do, and I'm smiling. I don't know if this is going to be, in a video format or audio, but I'm smiling because it's so true to my heart, and it's that what makes me every single day do something. And we can talk about my agency, and I love Amazon and I love truly what I do, but you're right, it's like every day is like, what else can I learn now, and what can I do now? And not only to support my own dreams, but as you get older and you get to experience more life, you have this burning passion inside of you, like, how can I use what I already have to help others? And I think you are also in that position, because I've seen you over the past 5 years. You not only we do stuff for our companies, but how can I help more? Which is, if you look at it, which is why you became who you are, Rich. I mean, I don't know one person that doesn't know you, and is because of you helping others, not because of you asking people to use your services. It was through the love that you had for connection. You connected me with my mentor. You connected this person to this person. And because of that, also who you are and your net worth also rose, because you're doing exactly what you love.
Yeah, I mean, I feel at my core like I'm here to be of service. It's like little tiny ways that manifest itself. Like, I see someone drop something across the way while walking through the airport. I'll stop, I'll pick it up, I'll chase them down. Like, it's just like, I don't even think about it. Right. So like being of service is just kind of, at my core, that's who I am. When it comes to like what I do for a living, I've got to build a business model around it. So like, I make money from being of service, specifically with regard to IP. And I've got to do it in a way that makes sense. And so like, I don't provide those services for free. Right. And like, I don't do free consultations, and people are like, well, don't you just want to help me? But I have to do it in a way that makes sense, because I have about 300 people a month that are like, hey, I want to do a patent. Hey, I want to do a patent. Could we get on a call or whatever? And I just can't do that. I had to build a business model that makes sense for that. But overarching is that I want to maximize how I could be of service and how I could create value in the world. So,
and I think you're doing just that. And, for those listening, this is definitely something you might want to write down. And, because it's almost, people use it so much, like follow your passion and money, will come. But it's truly true if you think about it, because, in your case, you really love connecting people. And again, you created like a moat around it, right? You created this opportunity around it that you also help people through it, that, you help them save on time, save on legal matters down the road. So, I don't think we should be ashamed in any way of selling our services, and sell them for the amount that it definitely makes sense, especially in your case where you have, so many employees and so many expenses around it. So I think, you have my vote, and everything that you do, it's incredible.
Thank you. One of my favorite ways to be of service is to see people. Like, because I feel like, to me, like one of my favorite ways that other people can impact me is to see me, right? To get me, and they get exactly what's going on. When they really nail me, and they're like, I saw that. You were like, you wanted to blank, and so I saw you stop short right there, and you were like being seen to me is one of the greatest things in life. And like, so one of the ways that I really like to serve other people is to see them. And a lot of times the way that I like to see people is by bringing up something that, like, how did you even remember that? Like, someone will, maybe they put out a book under a certain name 10 years ago, and then I'll work that into a conversation with them, like related to the present moment. Like, there's something about, like, well, that's kind of like the whatever. I don't know if it's making much sense, but like,
It makes complete
but
sense.
I
Yeah.
like having people feel seen and known. Like, that's one of my favorite things.
I love that. I mean, we all want to be seen. So, if you are able to really cultivate that skill, I mean, that again says so much about what you have built. So I can attest to that.
Thank you. Well, we should take at least a couple minutes and talk about what you do professionally, right? With Rank Bell, which is, I mean, Rank Bell is famous within the Amazon world for the results that you've achieved for people. Let's indulge me and let's just talk for a couple minutes about Rank Bell and what you do there.
Oh, thank you so much. It's always like I want to talk about everything else, but work sometimes. But it's definitely necessary because just like you, I am here to serve. And one way that I found that I can serve best people, at least within the Amazon community, is to help them. Just like you said, be seen. And what's the best way to be seen if not to show up, on page one of Amazon? And I started the Rank Bell about eight years ago or so, and it wasn't always Rank Bell; it was just me. And then it turned into this beautiful agency that I still run today. But it was born from one curiosity of who is Amazon and why are they the biggest, baddest platform out there, and how can I be part of it? And if I'm part of it, what's the best way for me to to learn, and what's the best way for me to make an impact within the community? And the one way I found was that amidst various large competitions, what makes one seller stand out is one, obviously having an amazing product that is worth having and is worth raving about, but more than that, you have to have it be seen first before anybody can even try it. So of course, in the beginning, I mean, Rank Bell has gone through so many changes. I mean, with Amazon changing rules all the time, faster than Kardashians change their hairstyle, should we say that? I had to stay with the times, and I always had to almost like predict these kind of changes looking into the future. Luckily for me, I've been in the space for a long time that not that I'm like some future foreseer, but if you just look at what Amazon does, you can kind of tell when the changes are coming. And the latest change that we've seen, at least in my domain and what I do, is a ranking. So in 2021, close to the end of the year, Amazon decided that search, find, buy was no longer allowed. And, that came kind of a surprise for a lot of sellers because, that was maybe the only way that they were bringing their ranking up. And, most sellers, at least the ones that I work with, they want to stay within, the TOS. They don't want to do anything that will get them kicked off the platform. So, when you take in consideration all the requests from your clients, that you want to make sure that you follow everything correctly. So one way that we found out that works, that does not upset Amazon, because what we realize is that Amazon does not just want to punish us, they just want to make sure that everybody gets a fair chance. So of course, when you send hundreds of people to search for a keyword, it will bring visibility up, but it's not fair for the rest of the competition, and I completely understand that. So looking at that, we decided to come up with a completely different way of ranking a product, but in such a way that, again, it's allowed by Amazon. And we came up with a full product analysis. So when a seller comes to us, first, what we do, we identify their customer avatar. And by the way, for those who don't know how to do that, just email me. I'll tell you my email at the end. And I have a free PDF. I'll send it to you, no problem. This way you have something to start with, but you identify the avatar, who is the person that's going to purchase these products. And once you've identified that, then you can actually go out into the world and basically get some of these shoppers to come and do a full audit of your product, of your listing, of your reviews, and everything that has to do with your product. But again, you are asking the right people. So when you do that, it's almost as if your product is exposed to who your future shopper will be. And if they're able to tell you raw, straight up, exactly what is lacking with your product or what's working well, then you're eliminating a lot of the problems that you're going to encounter in the future. So most of our clients that are using the service is obviously clients that have sellers that have been on the platform for a few years, but this service also works for brand new sellers that don't even know if their product is going to do well on the platform or not. So what do I mean by this? You're able to, even before spending tens of thousands of dollars on a product, you can actually get feedback from a shopper before you even list your product. You can get a sizable audience and say, hey, what do you think of this product? And you might be surprised in finding out what are some things that most people don't even like about the existing products that are out there, because it's kind of hard, Rich, right now to just go on Amazon and look at the 1-star review and 5-star reviews, because they don't have that much content around it. Just by somebody telling you your product sucks or your product is fantastic doesn't leave room for much. Right. So with our service, you're able to really get in depth with what you can do with your product. And a lot of our clients also use this service for future products. So, a brand that already has, let's say, 5 products and they're running out of ideas, then they can ask their avatar, hey, what are some other products that you would like to see from our brand that's going to improve your life? And then they'll give you ideas. I mean, maybe not all of them are good, but if you get 100 to 300 people telling you all kind of the same things, maybe that's a good sign that you should start a product like that. And then again, you're able to create a product based on what shoppers want, not based on, what you learned in a course or what somebody said and who said
or what
this.
Your hunch is. Like, I think this is what they want, but instead you're getting your customers to actually design the product exactly as they want it, and you're also getting them to suggest possibly new products that you ought to be offering.
Exactly. It really takes the guessing out of the game. And, and Amazon supports this, and they support this because they want you to have a great relationship with your customer, because the better relationship with your customers, the more sales you have on Amazon, the more people stay on Amazon, and they don't have to go to sites such as Walmart or, go through your site directly. They want to keep you there. So, I always like to look at this relationship between Amazon and Amazon sellers as a really friendly relationship. I mean, you can look at it the way you want to, but instead of saying, oh, they're punishing me by removing search, find, buy, well, maybe they kind of did you a favor, because, as much as I love search, find, buy and how fast it got your ranking up, it didn't really leave you with much at the end, right? You would raise and rank, but then you would fall back down. But now the way we do it, you're still able to kind of ride the algorithm in a way, if you're doing it in such a way that gives you all this product feedback. This audit, it also boosts the visibility up. So now you have a product that's on page 1, but also you have all this amazing data that will allow you to stay on page 1 for as long as you want, as long as you keep improving, keep asking feedback. And, for those listening, I don't want you to think that this feedback is actually reviews on Amazon, because that's not something that we condone. But, take that data and, update your listing in such a way that it says those specific words that the shopper told you. And there's just so many more ways to do this.
That's awesome. I love it. And thank you for telling us about that and about what you do. And if people want to learn more about you or get in touch with you, how do they go about doing so?
You can go to rankbell.com. That's rankbell.com. Or you just look for me on Facebook, Izabela Hamilton. Same with LinkedIn. I am taking a little break from Instagram right now because I'm doing this like whole social experiment. I haven't been on it for 3 months. But when I do come back, I plan on giving a little bit more of an explanation and my findings of why I quit and what I found in the meantime. So if you want to follow me at that point on Instagram is Bella, BELA.IZA.BELA.
Right, because it's Izabela with a Z and one L.
Exactly.
Yep.
See, you remember. Thank you,
Uh-huh.
Ray.
I do. So, Izabela, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for bringing your fabulousness here, as always. And yeah, hope to see you soon.
I will see you, I'm sure, at the next event, and I know it's going to be a party.
Oh, absolutely will be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Innovations and Breakthroughs with your host, Rich Goldstein. Be sure to click subscribe, check us out on the web at innovationsandbreakthroughs.com, and we'll see you next time.